jump in before we just immediately jump on?
We're up.
Cool.
Say hi.
Hi, everybody.
There's nobody.
Who's not in there?
You're a fool.
You're a fool. Fuck your dick. Slap that down.
Okay, let me get the monitor going.
That's good.
That's good, yeah.
That's good. That's good.
That's good.
Alright, I just had to mute the fuck out of myself.
Why?
Because I had it going on the speakers.
Oh. Yeah, I definitely prefer that.
Okay.
Fact. When you
I'm not
take
gonna use it while we
Advil,
play.
Yeah, we
you
are
get relief
definitely
right at the
applied.
site of
Everything's
pain,
good. I'm ready to start
wherever
the
it is.
Audacity recording.
Advil
whenever
stops
you
pain
guys are
right
ready
where
to
it
start the
starts.
recording.
Alright.
That's as soon as
Doesn't get
Eddie
any
has
better
an
than this.
intro.
Advil.
I have something, but it's kind of weak.
Like your sauce.
Oh,
What?
shit. That's right, I went there.
Are we gonna start recording?
Oh, are we?
Are you? Do you have an intro?
Yeah, I just said it's weak,
Okay.
though.
Okay. All right.
Recording now.
Recording now.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
3,
2,
2,
1.
1. Hi, and welcome to another episode of In Soviet Russia. We just show up and annex all your fucking countries.
Jesus! In
Jesus.
5D. Wow.
Hey,
What was
it's all
my
I can
whole
think of.
rule about political?
Yeah, I think
No,
that was part
wasn't
of our.
political. That was just like facts.
That was just.
that was just a thing I saw on Reddit.
Yes,
Just
it's totally happening. There was a guy who I knew who was just like, Russians, douchebags. That's it.
That's awesome.
I mean, I guess that's accurate.
Although that's not necessarily what I feel about, actual Russians.
He's lying. This
most
man is
of
filled
them.
with venom. Venom.
All right, so speaking about douchebags, I actually kind of wanted to bring something up, but before that, say hello, everybody.
I think that we should do that. Yes, but I think you should introduce us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
this
last,
is your
like-
job. As guy who is doing intro today, this just became your job.
I don't want to. All
Matter.
right,
This
Kevin,
works.
say hello.
Hi.
And Big Bird, say hello.
Hey guys. Also, I'm Steven. If
Yeah,
you
his
want my
name's Steve, Steven, Stevie,
all
Wonder,
this- I don't
Spence,
really care.
whichever
Dr.
you want to.
Stephenopoulos.
Dr. Steven.
That's Senor Dr. Stephenopoulos to you. But anyway, speaking of douchebags, Steve.
okay.
No, just kidding. So did you guys check out the latest clip from Afroman, who I was surprised was still alive too?
Yeah.
I don't know who that is. Does that make me a
So-
bad person?
No, it's fine. Afroman,
Afro was famous once.
yeah, a number of years ago, he actually had a Grammy-nominated song. It was that I'm sure you heard of it. It's Because I Got High.
Oh yeah,
That
no,
was
I do know that
nominated
song.
for a Grammy?
Yeah, that was I don't think it won, but it was nominated. A lot of the high people
Goddamn toilet.
showed up. But anyways, so he's kind of gone into obscurity. As far as I know, he hasn't really done anything huge. I don't really listen to that kind of music. But, not to say that it's bad or anything, it's just not my thing. But he was arrested recently because he was at a concert. And this, drunk chick, she's drunk because she's doing one of these, teeter and tottering. And she's got a cup of, I imagine, some alcoholic beverage in her hand. And she gets up on stage and starts dancing next to him. Never touches him. And she's like kind of doing the thing where she's kind of going to freak with him, but she like changes her mind halfway through. And then
Okay.
she starts awkward dancing. He turns around and just punches her. It almost looks like he clotheslined her.
Shit.
Yeah, no, it's like a full closed
Fact.
fist bitch slap.
Fast acting.
Yeah.
Wow.
is designed
Yeah, I'd get
Really
arrested if I did that
aggressive.
too.
Yeah, honest to God, I thought he just went and just gave her the arm bar straight. And then the best part is he like thrusts his chest at her once, like what? And then goes back to playing his song.
Yeah, like I'm done here.
And then
Well,
and then I imagine it was someone that was here with the girl, but another guy gets up on stage, just raising his arms, going like, "It's cool, bro. I'm just
Don't
here for
tase
her."
me.
And then, yeah, and then he like walks up to the girl and slowly escorts her off stage because at this point she's kind of like sauntered up, not realizing what had happened. So he
Wait,
got
did
arrested.
she remember?
Huh?
Did she remember?
I don't know,
Oh,
but
no, she
all-
got
like,
up like
still
a minute
agreed
later.
to rule.
She
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
like out or anything.
yeah, it took her a little bit. I mean, she was drunk and she did just get clotheslined by a big,
Right,
you
right.
know.
Well, what I was getting at though is that if she doesn't remember, did it actually happen? I mean,
Well,
see,
they have it on
CeeLo,
camera,
back
so
down. Back
so,
down.
so they do. But here's the worst part: he was arrested,
yeah.
and his bail was set at $330.
Could he pay it?
Well, yeah, obviously it's $330.
It'd better if he could.
He probably went, oh man, that's like today's weed money. Here you go. I know, just got off stage.
Today's.
I just thought it'd be funny if he couldn't pay the bail.
Oh well, yeah, that would be. Staying with the subject about douchebags.
Yay!
About a month
Really?
ago,
But okay.
we maybe a little longer, but we discussed a Korean heiress. Like,
Yes.
father's the chairman of Korean Air,
Yes.
and she was the VP. So they're actually calling the incident now the Nut Rage.
Nice, bitch.
Why
Was
is it
all
called
nut
nut
rage? Oh,
Oh, I wish I was making this shit up. It'd be so much
horrible.
funnier. But anyway, so they're calling this the Nut Rage. She was in first class flying from New York, I believe, back to Korea somewhere. And the first class stewardess had the audacity to serve her nuts she didn't ask for.
Fucking
you know,
bitch.
I know, CeeLo,
How
you're getting a
dare
little
she.
excited here. Calm your shit down. So not only that, she served her nuts she didn't ask for, and they were in the packaging and not in a cup.
Oh, I thought it was a plate. She wanted,
Or-
she wanted her
or
nuts
plate.
on a plate.
Yeah. Or a plate. It wasn't on a serving.
I don't want my nuts on a plate at all. That sounds awful.
It sounds uncomfortable, right? But
Lady
anyways,
nuts are different, dude.
So,
Lady nuts are different. You don't
so
know.
she throws a huge fucking fit, and just makes the airplane go from taxiing to go back to the gate to kick off the stewardess. Like, to the point where, like, she berated her, she hit her with, like, the manual, the one that tells you where all the exits are, and it was just, it was out of hand, and they went back to the gate. Well, the resolution of that is she's been in jail since then because she was arrested, and now the sentencing has come down. First off, she's lost her job. She's no longer VP. Her father has pretty much publicly disowned her, or as close as you can get.
His exact quote that I had read was, "I'm sorry, but this shows that my daughter is not educated well enough."
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So
he's
that's
just
a-
like, "Sorry, she's."
So that's
fucked."
as close as you get to being disowned there without actually being disowned. So she's been in prison, and I quote, because, you know, she's had to live a simplistic lifestyle. She's used to getting everything she wants and everything catered to her. She goes, "The inmates have been so nice sharing their toiletries with me." I'm like, well, you know, now that you're stuck in there for a year, have fun with that. But so she's getting a year in prison, and everybody's like, yeah, you know, whatever. But so what they're actually getting her for is putting the other passengers in danger, because technically once the airplane leaves the gate, it's considered in flight.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
she made an airplane basically turn around, and then she's also the judge had her read a letter of apology during the court proceedings, and he looks at her and he goes, "I don't think you're remorseful enough." So instead of doing like time served, she's actually going to do a year in prison, and it extends more than this. There's one particular exec at Korean Air that's getting 6 months for trying to intimidate the crew of the airplane to not testify, or to testify on her behalf or something like that. And even beyond that, there's a worker for the Ministry of Transportation of Korea who also got a sentence that it's been suspended at the moment, but apparently he coached a statement out of one of the crew members, so he's also getting it. They're basically making an example out of these people, and
Good.
I honestly think that
Right. It's about
But if
fucking
it-
time.
if the media hadn't picked this up and this had blown up so much, they wouldn't have made such a big deal. They would have brushed it under the rug. But
Probably
because the nation's image was affected, the judge was like, "You have adversely affected your country's image, so do not pass go. Go directly to jail."
Good.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, so one story, douchebag kind of gets away sort of light so far, and the other one, not so much. But anyway, so that's the douchebag corner for tonight.
Well,
Okay.
I don't know. I would argue that Afro Man is not exactly a total douchebag in that situation.
I don't know.
Well, except for he fucking full-on clocked a bitch.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's-
hold on. There have been several artists attacked on stage during concerts, a few of which I know were killed.
No, I'm
Dimebag Darrell
aware of this.
from Pantera famously shot on stage during a concert. So some girl shows up. If you watch the video, she's standing behind him, and he doesn't see her until she's at the
Oh,
corner
you
of
didn't
his
mention
eye.
that.
Well, because it's conjecture, but like he
So-
sees her there, he turns, he clocks her, and then he goes back. He knew he was hitting a chick, but to be fair, he knew he was hitting a chick who just snuck up behind him on stage.
Right.
Okay.
Security
So-
should have stopped her. She knew
Yes.
she wasn't supposed to be there. You ever been to a concert where you can fucking go on stage? No, because they don't let you do that.
Right,
So
that's not a thing.
he is not, and I'm not saying he's not a dick. He probably is a douchebag, but he is not 100% in the wrong here.
No,
can-
I give you part of that. I think he's 90% in the wrong because if you watch the
I wouldn't
video,
even go 90.
no, if you watch the video, he's playing. He does a small turn, goes back to playing, and then clocks her. So there was an awareness that she was there.
But there are stagehands and other things. It probably just took motherfuckers high as shit. Probably it just took him a second to go. I don't have a female
Okay, but-
stagehand to fuck.
But being
Right.
high as shit does not excuse you. Just like being drunk doesn't
but,
excuse you.
Again, she wouldn't have gotten hit if she wasn't there.
Oh no!
Nobody
agreed.
told her to get up there.
No
Nobody
one-
told her she could get up
No
there.
one is saying she's completely innocent on this.
This is like that chick
She
who
was
got her
drunk and
head
stupid.
kicked off at Great America. For anybody who's not from San Jose, famously, we have this amusement park. Used to be Paramount's, and now
Quasi
it's,
famously.
It's
Well,
Six Flags or something like that
This
too.
story got pretty big. A girl climbed over a fence she wasn't supposed to be climbing over. And it's one of those hanging coasters where your feet dangle. You're not like in a car. You're sitting in a seat and your feet dangle.
Right.
The coaster comes by. Oh, it wasn't. Oh, it was. Sorry. It was a dude who went. No, maybe it was a girl. I don't know. It was before I was born, but still, somebody went over the fence. Somebody comes by on the coaster, and the coaster gets really low to the ground at a point. So there's a big fence going, "Don't fucking be here."
Right.
Somebody comes by and literally kicks the person's head off, shatters their leg, destroys
Yeah, I was gonna say, that
it.
probably
And
really
people are
hurt
like,
them.
"Oh, this park is unsafe," and it's like, no, fucker climbed a fence that said, "Don't
Right.
climb the fence."
Yes, but you're talking about a roller coaster who's traveling over 50 miles per hour versus.
I'm talking about a dude who's doing his job and somebody endangers his security because he does not know what she is up to. She is suddenly on stage in a place she's not supposed to be. Again, he did see her. He knew he was punching a lady in the face. He knew this, and in one part, instead of just going security and backing off, he chose, "I'm gonna punch this bitch."
Well,
Right.
and not
That's
even
a
that.
mistake made.
See, this is where I feel your argument breaks down a little bit. It's the aftermath. After he punched her, he wasn't like, "Oh my god, security," or "Holy shit." It was, "What?" Okay?
Again,
so
he doesn't know she had a knife. She got punked for being in a place she wasn't supposed to be.
No,
and again,
no.
she needs to take more than 10% responsibility. Like, hey, I broke into the warehouse, but those crack dealers shot me on their own. What the fuck are you doing breaking into the crack warehouse?
Right.
Like,
Well,
why are
depends.
you
Do
getting,
the
like,
motherfuckers
she
own
needs
that
to
crack
take
ware-
at least
You know
half
what?
of this responsibility. This is
I
50-50.
no,
I feel like this is the
Not
point
half.
where we need to move the fuck on. So segue.
no, this is
No, we're
Afro
fucking
Man.
segueing right now, and I demand it.
Force it.
You know what? I never
sideways.
want to hear
Perform
you ever
segue
say
jutsu.
that or segueing because I think you have those little two-wheel things and like, we're segueing, yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, we're like the Wiggles and everything. It's great.
Segway.
What the fuck are the Wiggles?
Yeah, I don't want to go to it.
That was me.
It-
Segway.
The Wiggles are a child's musicianal like group of some kind. I don't really know much. You can
All
throw it
right.
on stream, I guess, if you want. They wiggle.
But anyways, all right. So,
So moving
more
along.
breaking news. The Ryan Reynolds Deadpool movie just got the female lead.
Oh, okay.
They did.
Morena Baccarin.
Okay, you recognize her, right?
Yeah, she's
I
from,
certainly
like, fucking.
don't. Give me a
she's from
fucking image.
Firefly.
Yes.
She's doing like Homeland right now. She's Inara from Firefly.
Oh, well, then yeah, you just say that and I get it.
Well, I was getting to it, but anyway, so she's gonna be the female lead. Not many details on what her character does or anything, but breaking news that actually just came out around 5 o'clock. So, boom, heard it
Boosh.
here quasi first.
I'm trying to get a picture, but OBS is not wanting to play friendly. I don't know why. There we go. It's very tiny, but there it is. That's her.
Yay!
Blow that up. Yeah, she was Inara in Firefly. That's her. So she's gonna be your female lead in the Deadpool movie.
Right on.
She actually also played a really good part in the Short-Lived Dresden series.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, but let me tell you, that series needed to move on.
Yeah,
No.
the series was not good.
I
Let's
liked
just get
it.
that out of
Fuck
the way
you
right now. That
guys.
series was not
I
good.
think
Oh.
I've done a rant on this before, but
You have.
that show just doesn't have anybody who's ever even looked at the fucking thing. I'm sorry, there should not be an entire absence of canon anything. I'm sorry, but you can't have Murphy as not even blonde, but also like, yeah, we're not gonna go into it.
It's okay. I just disagree with you. It's
Rants
fine.
for another day, kids.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rants for
we
another
we
day.
don't need to rant more about that one. It's
Yeah.
bad.
Anyways,
Um,
so guess what I checked out this weekend?
Your own penis.
Well,
You found it
obviously,
foul.
all the time. No, not the foul part. But
Hold on,
yeah,
let me-
check it out. Yeah.
All right.
All right. So, oh man, Steven gets turned on by his own penis. That I feel you need to go talk to somebody, Steven. But anyway, so I watched Kingsman. The Secret
Woo, I don't even
Service.
know which one that is. What movie is that again?
Kingsman: The Secret Service. It's based on a comic book just called The Secret Service, and it kind of sounds like the only thing they really got was very small plot points and the name, because so the movie. Let's just start off with director by Matthew Vaughn. He directed Kick-Ass, X-Men: First Class. He was a producer on Snatch. So he's done some pretty cool
Okay.
stuff. So it's starring Taron Egerton, which he doesn't really have much going on for him. Some shorts, and he was on a couple episodes of this show called The Smoke that was fairly popular. Not here. I think it was a UK show. Colin Firth is in it. You know him from like Love Actually. He was the king in The King's Speech, and I think he did one of the Bridget Jones sequels or something.
Oh yeah, I was watching all of them Bridget Jones.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
super.
dude, that is like
But-
my
but
favorite
anyways,
world.
So he plays Lancelot. Michael Caine is in it because he's in fucking everything.
Yeah, that's that's actually part of his resume now.
Yeah, and
I'm
Samuel
Michael Caine.
Jackson.
I am
See,
in
Samuel
everything.
Jackson and Michael Caine are actually right now in competition to see who can fuck up their careers faster by just being in
good.
everything. But no. So Samuel Jackson was the bad guy, and then there was a kind of a female co-lead, sort of, Sophie Cook, also kind of an unknown show called Moonfleet, Rosamund Pitcher. But anyways, so the movie is about this super spy organization called the Kingsmen, and they kind of take on the persona of the Knights of the Round Table. So the head of it, which was played by Michael Caine, his name's Arthur.
Oh, okay.
Colin Firth was sorry, he wasn't Lancelot. He was Galahad.
Okay.
And
So they're a Secret Service agency.
Secret Service agency, and they well, sort of super spy agency. They investigate.
It's like a very comic booky take on James Bond.
Yeah. Basically, one of their agents dies. They always, replace them. They need a new Lancelot. So the Taron Egerton, his character name's Eggsy. He's brought on as not really a kind of. They're all used to being like posh and in suits, and he's just kind of a street guy wearing, commoner clothes and everything. So it's a very, very big old school versus new school kind of take on the movie. But honestly, the movie was great. You should watch it. I can't say too much, obviously, because spoilers. It just came out. I thought it was a good take on old tropes. They did turn them on its ear a lot. A couple of the jokes,
That's good.
a couple of the jokes you saw coming, but then they went, "We knew you saw that coming, so we're gonna do it this way," which is kind of refreshing. Honestly, it's a very weird blend of a legitimate spy movie with an Austin Powers movie. Like it makes fun of itself, but some of the action scenes are extremely gratifying. To the point where it's ridiculous, and it looks like Samuel L. Jackson's just having a great time playing this like
That can go so far in a movie.
tech.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so he's playing this like tech super genius, kind of an amalgam of Jobs and Gates, where he's super smart, super rich, and super trendy, but he's also doing all this philanthropy stuff. It's a really good movie. I think one of the biggest things I liked is that the Sophie Cooking's character, which actually comes in as a competitor to the main character to take the spot of Lancelot, they actually never end up hooking up, which is huge for movies like this.
That's a good thing. I'm so
Yeah.
tired of the fucking, we have to have a love story, so let's put a love story in.
There was not a love
So done with
story. They were close in the sense that it was very platonic, like they helped each other out and got each
Right.
other through training and stuff. We'll say
A
specifics,
lead male
but-
and a lead female no longer have to get sex and like be into
Yeah,
each other.
it was-
That's
it
just
was-
something I don't want to see anymore.
It was great. They kind of ruined that whole bit with over sexifying another part of it, but it was kind of like
Sexifying.
it was kind of like I said, turning stuff on its ear, and it was actually great. You guys should check it out.
Don't tell me what to do.
There's one particular scene in a Baptist church which is very, very reminiscent of like the Southborough Baptist movement, which is extreme. Sorry, Westboro. A Baptist movement, which is very satisfying. That's all I'll say. You should definitely check it out. I don't know. I think on a rating from super fucking soft to full mast, I'm just solid on this one.
Yeah,
Okay.
full
Right on.
go.
Full
Full
go.
go,
None of that limp stuff. Not the you have to hold it at the base. Full mast.
None of the halvesies.
Full mast. None of the halvesy
Alright,
stuff.
I can accept that.
Speaking of movies that you saw, I actually watched a movie too, and I did mention this to you guys earlier because I totally forgot. But I went and saw Seventh Son.
Oh god, tell me.
What's that?
I actually
It's the Jeff Bridges movie that
I have been looking
came out a while
forward
ago.
to that since they announced it a year ago.
Right. So Jeff Bridges is starring with what is her name?
Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff and Jeff Bridges are starring in a movie. Basically, it's a generic fantasy movie.
It's Jeff Bridges as Gandalf.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like a semi-wizard character. Has to train a new apprentice. Has to do with like this like sort of inbuilt lore about seventh sons of seventh sons have a certain thing, and there's a whole
kind
bunch
of a biblical kind of thing, yeah.
Right. There's a few of those things sort of going on, but basically the main character and this apprentice are essentially they're paranormal like fighters. Essentially, they go out and they kick the ass or like imprison or
They
control.
kick the ass.
Yeah, kick the
all
ass
of
of things
it.
like witches and ghasts and all this other stuff.
And what?
Um,
They kicked the ass of gas?
Yeah, they kick the ass of ghasts.
That's metal.
Like the giant white things that shoot fireballs and scream.
Oh, I thought they just rolled up and you're like, I heard you farted.
Sorry, that might have been a Minecraft reference. Nonetheless, so it's a kind of generic movie. The acting was pretty spot on and pretty good in my opinion. I wasn't super into the movie. Like it was kind of like one of those like middle grounds for me because it was just generic fantasy. It was definitely entertaining. I did enjoy myself, but when it comes to like content and stuff, it was kind of lackluster in my opinion. There's some cool effects and some great scenes, but to me, it was just kind of like it was okay. But Jeff Bridges is always, Jeff Bridges, a little weird and quirky, and that's always, worth seeing.
It's funny. I've noticed that a lot of the movies, whether they're good or not, Jeff Bridges does a great job.
Right.
It's just everybody around them that either just kind of phones it in or they're trying really hard. Another character actor that does that is Ron Perlman.
Yeah.
Like whatever role he takes on the role, but it's just everyone else around him who's just like la 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 la.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd say that the other actors like didn't do a decent job or anything. I just think that honestly the script itself was a little lackluster. There's a lot of lore that's not really touched on, even though they're making like this whole world. There's just things that they could have focused on a little bit more, and I think the story could have been a little bit stronger, in my opinion. But I mean, it's not bad. I would check it out if you like watching Jeff Bridges and his thing. Like I said,
Yeah.
it's enjoyable, but not like top tier thing. And I guess if I had to get a rating on an A to Z rating, I'd give it 2 babies.
Okay.
Okay.
Works
So is
for
that like
me.
a B?
Sure. I mean, I didn't realize it needed to matter.
It doesn't.
No,
Right.
It's arbitrary.
not really.
Exactly. I was making the most arbitrary thing I could. See, you fucked it up.
All right, fair enough. 7
See, I wanted to throw that out there.
Um,
since we're talking about
See
movies.
it or don't.
I
Right,
thought
it's
it
got
was
2
like
babies.
I thought it was
Babies.
like, it doesn't completely suck because it wasn't made by U-Ball.
Well, most things have that going for it.
Not if he
Luckily.
punches you. Not if he
Well,
punches you.
That's true.
Wait, why are we going back to Afro Man? I thought I ended that thing.
Well done. So, in other news of recent things to come out, me and
Recent
Steven have been
things?
playing a game.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
that game's great.
You hungry for games?
Games are
Oh, you're
wonderful.
not entertained?
I mean, we're on Twitch, so we should probably talk about video
Never
games.
heard of it.
What?
Never heard of it.
Really?
So, we started playing Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of it so far?
I think
so
it's shit.
Right. I didn't get a chance to play it as much as you did, Devin, but from what I got to play, I really enjoy it. But I'm also a huge fan of that style of game. For people who aren't aware of it,
That
Darkest
style?
Dungeon...
What do you mean by that style?
That's where I'm going, suckerfish! So, it's a roguelike side-scroller RPG, and what that means is that, there's procedurally generated
What
elements...
does roguelike mean?
Roguelike is literally a game like Rogue, which was like one of the first games back in the day, which had generally procedurally generated stuff, really, really challenging, permadeath, that kind of thing. Other games in that style would be like NetHack or
FTL or
FTL is also a roguelike. Yeah, those kind of games where like basically you got your
or
playthrough
Uplink,
shit
that
happen.
piece of shit that I love.
I fucking love you! I love you!
Oh god, dude, that game has stolen
Aggression.
so many
Although
hours of my life that I'm
I
never
mean, I guess
gonna get back.
technically people call it roguelite because you don't really lose if you lose your party. So, like, because you can rehire people, but whatever. I just lump that all together. Basically, it's a procedurally generated thing, and that's a good thing. But what they added to make this game more interesting than just another side-scrolling RPG is they added a stress meter, which works a lot like the old stress from things like The Thing, which is an old survivor horror game from the PlayStation 2 era, I believe. But the point being that the characters get like stressed out with all the demony things that are happening around them and shit. So like they start to get weird effects like being paranoid or whatever. And this is where the game gets really tricky because that can screw you hard.
Yeah.
But I've been enjoying it though because I like a challenging game and it's got just the right amount of like the great things. And what's cool is it's in early access, but you could hardly tell.
So I haven't actually played it, but just I knew we were going to talk about it, so I just looked at its Wikipedia page and its description in Steam and everything.
Yeah.
So
And
how
it
fast
sounds, huh?
I'm just kidding. I love you.
I have no idea what he said. But anyways, it sounds like you play a kind of a fucking mean deity. Because you don't have a main character to invest your life in.
Right.
And your characters die off, you just gotta go get more. So you're either like a warlord, one of those, cartel guys who's just like, send more in, send more people, they'll die, it's okay.
I think if I had to personify the main character, who you play as the player, I'd honestly call you the town itself. If I did
Yeah.
anything. I mean, it doesn't really say, oh, you're this dude or you're a guy like this. Like, the intro kind of, like, brings you in like a person, but it seems like more of a plea to the town. One thing I did forget to mention when I was talking about, like, my likes of it, the art style is pretty cool. It's surprisingly
It's like,
colorful for being
it's
dark.
like clip art.
Right.
It seems almost cel-shaded.
I think it is mostly designed to be kind of cel-shaded. It looks a little bit comic-y, but what I like about it, though, like I said, is it's, for being a dark, atmosphere, it's relatively colorful. I find, at least.
I see myself twice.
Yeah, sorry, that was my bad. That's what I get for that's what I get for trying to do stuff and pay attention to people. That's my bad.
So what did you think, though, Devin, since you got a chance to play it a little bit more than I did?
I've never had a better time having my ass handed to me repeatedly. I mean, this is the kind of game that just it does not care about you. And even when the game even when I'm expecting the game, I'm just going, fail. You know what I mean? Like, there's a mission that's over, and I know it's over, and I'm down to my last character, and he has no life, and I'm just like, fuck it, kill me. The game's like, dodge. No, fuck it, kill me, dodge. Just end this fight, dodge. I mean, I was on the last fight against these two huge dudes in this dungeon. I lost my entire party except for this, like, level 0 character who was just coming along with the party for no other reason than, like, I needed a slot filled and everybody else was too stressed. So it's a bunch of my kind of leveled characters and this nothing. And all of my kind of leveled characters are dead. I know this is the last fight, but it's hopeless because they're all dead. It's just him with no life against two, like, decent strength monsters. And he just refused to die, and yet I still couldn't be happy. So I was just like, no, just stop, just end. No,
Did you end up
won
winning?
that fight. Yes!
Yes!
I beat that dungeon and was pissed. The game will just not let you be happy.
Yeah, the biggest part about the game is stress management more than anything else, because
Yes, you're
the higher
right.
the stress is, the worse your day is going to go.
And that just reminds me again of Game Dev Tycoon.
Yeah, it's a similar kind of
I love
concept in a lot of ways, but way more hardcore.
So, I don't know, man. I feel like I've played my share of games where I want to break things, or I don't know if I really want to play Darkest Dungeon, just because it seems like I've
It's
spent
not-
so much
it's not
time on
like-
FTL and Uplink where I'm just
It's
like,
not like Dark Souls punishing. It's not just like, you spawned, slam, you're dead. You spawned, dodge.
but is it like, you know, here I am playing Uplink, and I've been playing it for 3 hours, and I'm like, yeah. All of a sudden, no, all your money, all your equipment's gone.
So that's the reason why I
Fuck you.
mentioned that technically it's a roguelite game as opposed to a roguelike game, because technically you don't lose even if you lose everybody. Like, you just go
Yeah.
back to the town, you don't get all the rewards, but whatever, like, it's
Like,
not the worst thing in the
new heroes
deal.
are free. You
Yeah.
get so many new heroes after every single mission, regardless if anybody dies or not, and they're just like, here.
Yeah, so it's not like it's not as punishing
everybody
as some
died.
roguelikes.
I'd like to go.
Right,
Yeah,
it's
pretty
not
much.
like something like Dungeons of Dreadmore, for example, where when you die, you
XCOM.
start over. Or XCOM, where when you die, it really impacts you a lot. Because you can actually get through a lot of the stuff with zero-level characters. They get stronger, and it's nicer to have them, but you should go into it expecting your characters to die. And that's something that's a style of game that I really enjoy, but I can understand why some people aren't into it.
No,
It's also really fun because you can name all the characters, so, you know,
Yeah, we've been naming them after members of the stream.
it makes it way more interesting
We
when
watch a
one
lot
person's
of
doing
members
well.
of our stream die.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like borderline wish fulfillment.
No, I like all of our people that watch us. They're great people.
Oh, I thought you meant people on the stream. I was like,
Oh, on this stream? No, Devin
Yeah.
somehow is still alive. He's a lady that doesn't die.
you're a lady.
Apparently. But yeah, no, it's actually been a lot of fun, and honestly, like, so we bought this around the same time that we bought Evolve, which we talked about last week. Evolve was $60. This was $20, and honestly, I feel like I got a better bang for my buck. And this is early access, and I feel like I've gotten a more complete experience from Darkest Dungeon than I have from Evolve.
Yeah,
Honestly.
no, I mean, and that's kind of it's sad, but I'm not surprised. I mean, the reason why I'm not is that I feel that independent developers, the biggest thing that makes them really a great pull for me personally is they're willing to run with an idea no matter how weird or strange it is, and not worry about, oh, we're not going to have every person play this game. They're more about focusing down on stuff. And at the end of the day, that's something that I like a lot more because the game feels more complete just because they really went deep into this stress management style, like little dungeon delving thing where all sorts of shit can be thrown at you. And in Evolve, I feel like I'm playing a game where, you know, I go into it and really there's not a lot of substance, but everything looks really good and everything sort of plays fairly well. It's just there's not a whole lot behind it.
So
But that's kind of how I look at the two things. And that's sort of how I've seen AAA versus indie for a while.
So talking about games that we've recently played, I actually played
You
Far
don't
Cry
even
4.
know what it's
I
called.
almost said Call of
I
Duty
played a
4. I'm
game.
sorry.
I played one of those games that I played.
Far Cry 4.
Minions.
So did you go with the removing of all the narrative dissonance and just go for the best ending?
So here's what I did. The first time I was like, I'm gonna see this fucking
Yeah.
this bullshit ended. So I sat there for fucking 15 minutes just to see the fucking the Easter egg. You know what? If the guy's telling the truth, I am a complete dick on this second playthrough. Spoilers. Everybody who hasn't played it, but that Easter egg ending, basically, he explains to you why your dad was a gigantic douchebag, and this is what your mom actually wanted when you're putting her ashes away. It's pretty interesting, and I definitely think everyone should try it at least once. But so after that, I restarted and I actually started playing the game. It's fun and it's entertaining, but that's because Far Cry 3 was fun and entertaining. The
Right.
graphics are beautiful. There aren't any really new mechanics. I think my favorite part was the fact that I can ride around a fucking elephant. So
Elephants are always boss.
you do the same thing as you did in the last game. You take over posts. You deliver packages. You do race stuff. I think the coolest part is now when you want to take over a certain post, if there's an elephant and you've leveled up, you can ride him and to take over the post. I just kind of trampled through. All you have to do is stampede. The elephant knocks things away with his trunk, or whatever.
So is this really
Was that
Far
your
Cry
elephant?
4, or is this basically Far Cry 2 3.5?
So
I get that it has like a full new story, but honestly, at this point, when you already have all the fucking models and everything done, and you're just doing a little bit of reskinning, it's still a 2.5 in my book. Is there enough different in this from 3 to make this Far Cry 4?
So I would think that this was a full-length expansion.
Okay.
Is what I think, because I wouldn't call it a 3.5, because they really do go into backgrounds and create whole new factions and different backgrounds for the factions.
I more mean in the mechanics, though, like gameplay. Can I come right off of 3 and just expect the same basic gameplay off of this, or have they tweaked and improved and changed and
So
added?
they've definitely done some improvements, and not just visually. One of my biggest criticisms of Far Cry 3 was that when you were riding a vehicle and try to shoot, it was fucking impossible to drive and shoot at the same time, because the way you control driving is just with the right thumbstick, and you only control the camera. Sorry, just with the left thumbstick, and you only control the camera with the right.
So it's like Borderlands?
But to accelerate, you have to push, forward, and then you go back. But you get to that weird camera problem where if you're facing back, you have to push forward to go back. It gets really fucking obnoxious. But what they've added here is that if you have a waypoint set, you can just press on the left thumbstick, and it auto drives you, and you can focus on shooting, which I thought was a huge improvement. Another problem that I had with the last game was that it was way too easy to fall off of tall buildings or tall mountains and shit, and just kind of like instant death, but there were no way around the terrain. So what they added for this one, they added a wingsuit, which which is actually kind of cool, because I've always wanted to wear one of them fucking squirrel suits. Yeah, so it's really entertaining, and don't get me wrong, the game is fun, right? Like, I'm enjoying the shit out of it, but it really is just an expansion. It's the exact same game that's been reskinned. More story has been added, and a couple little tweaks and doohickeys have been added. They have fixed some issues.
So the answer to your question, Devin, is yes.
Okay.
No, it's definitely not it's not a 2.5. I would definitely not call that. I'd call it an expansion. One thing that does bother the fuck out of me is you'll be standing there and all of a sudden you hear people freaking out and you're like, what? Fucking eagle! Just comes
Oh yeah,
in.
no, I've heard all
It's
about these fucking eagles,
fucking
dude. They're
attack, and
awful.
you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I feel like they should be zombie eagles at least, because then I fucking get why they're so angry about shit.
They're
And
just
the
trying to
problem
bring
is,
your eyeballs some freedom.
I shot a fucking
Freedom balls.
eagle with a fucking elephant gun in the game, and it didn't go down. I can one-shot a fucking tiger, but I can't hit a fucking eagle. Bullshit. Like, there's a weird tweak where when they're coming at you, you can't really hit them until they're so close that it's too late and they're going to attack you. Or while they're attacking somebody else, you can hit them because they're within that, weird range. That's kind of fucked, and I've never been afraid of eagles until now. So
Sure, they like
That's
sharks.
Oh my god, I'm watching the gameplay from Steam. This is all the stuff from Steam, by the way, for people viewing. This is all the clips from Steam. But he was just brutally stabbing a wolf to death.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm all for murdering
which-
people, but
that's how
Which
you
is-
skin them. once
Which
they're
is the
already
reason
dead.
why I think the game is better when you just end at that 15-minute mark, because now your character doesn't get like some weird superhuman ability to go out and fucking do weird things and like
No, so
kill fucking animals and
So-
skin them and eat them and all that. You literally went there to scatter your mom's ashes and you go fucking do it and it's over and we're good. Best
haven't
story ending
finished-
ever.
I haven't finished the game yet, but so far, story-wise, it just seems kind of light in the sense that, yeah, it's a full-blown story, but there was none of that, like, suffering that you had to go through in the last one. In the last game, you became this, like, murderous, super fucking soldier by circumstance. Like, there were people hunting you. So you learn to survive. In
Yeah,
this one, it's just kind of like you show up and you want to play fucking soldier,
Well,
and
so-
all of a sudden you can fucking murder everything.
This has kind of been what I've seen like as a trend with what I've noticed with Ubisoft titles. Like the first ones are kind of like here's our thing, and they just progressively get weirder and more ridiculous. And this happened with Far Cry and with Assassin's Creed both, without question. Like it gets all weird meta shit going on, or like it's all crazy and fucking birds are jumping out of trees and eating you like a monkey, like all sorts of crap. And why? You know, like it doesn't make any sense.
Like, I wouldn't mind if they did this and just fucking admitted they did it. Like fucking Saints Row, right? I know I go back to
Yeah,
it, but
call this Far Cry 3 Get Out of Hell.
yeah,
Right, it sounds like Saints Row started off ridiculous, didn't it?
no, Saints Row started off as
Oh.
a straight up
Fuck
GTA
that then.
clone.
Yeah, fuck that then.
And they became ridiculous, but you know what? They fucking owned it. So that's the
Yeah.
same kind of thing. Like, if you're just gonna, because if you look at it, Saints Row 2 to 3, and even 3 to 4, it's pretty much the same fucking thing. It's just they threw ridiculous and they threw these crazy weapons, but like storyline and gameplay, it's
But
pretty
at least
much
with
the
Get
same
Out of
thing.
Hell, they were like, this isn't Saints Row 5. They're like, this is Saints Row 4.
Exactly. Like
Get Out of Hell.
they own to it. I'm not gonna say I don't like the game, but it's because I like 3 so much.
Right.
Um,
That's kind of what I've heard a lot of people say is that it's a good game, but it's nothing special in that regard. It's
Yeah,
kind of the
so-
same way I feel about Fallout and Fallout New Vegas or Fallout 3 that is, and then like.
But again, at
Bethesda
least
games,
Fallout Vegas didn't call itself Fallout 4.
Right.
It was Fallout New Vegas.
Right.
So if you haven't played 3, play 4. It's great. If you played 3, just go back and play 3. There's really not
Right.
much of a difference.
Mentioning Bethesda though, it came out in the news a couple of weeks ago. I wanted to bring it up last week or the week before, whenever I heard about it, but I just didn't get around to it. But Bethesda's actually having a panel at E3 this year, which is kind of an interesting thing because I think, if I recall correctly, the last time they did this, they also released Fallout 3 like that year in the winter or fall or whatever season it is at the end. Yeah, because I pay attention.
That last
That last one. No, but the point being that if they're doing another press conference, they might have a lot of interesting like releases from information about maybe Doom 4, which is just being called Doom for some stupid ass reason.
Is it really?
Yeah, they're not even putting a number; they're just calling it Doom, which is
They're
really dumb.
they're following the fucking Apple guideline. It's just an iPad now.
Right, exactly.
We gave
But-
up on fancy names. Really?
There's also
4
a
was
likelihood-
too fancy? Way too fancy.
Right, so there's also a likelihood we'll see some Fallout stuff, maybe some information on Elder Scrolls Online, but still, it's kind of an interesting thing because they don't normally pop up as a conference, and I'm just curious if you guys are kind of excited to hear what they have to say, or if you just don't care, or what.
You know what? Here's the thing about Bethesda. I can't honestly say that there's been a game of theirs, and that just because I might be ignorant of which games they've done, but there isn't one game that I've actually been like, oh my god, I haven't played any of the Fallouts. So what else have they made that?
The big titles are Fallout and the Elder
Scrolls
Scrolls.
games.
Yeah, those are the
Oh,
big
so
titles.
they did like Skyrim?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I played the fuck out of Skyrim.
Oh, good.
All
Then
right.
you played Fallout 3.
Yeah, you basically played all of the post Morrowind Elder Scroll games. You basically played them now. They're all so similar. It's ridiculous.
They're all the same thing.
They
Okay,
basically,
I love the fuck out of Skyrim, and it was by accident too. It showed up on a Humble Bundle, and I was like, everyone's talked about this for fucking 3 years. Let's see. And I was instantly hooked. It was pretty great. But then again, I'd never played any of the other. I had breezed into Morrowind through a friend, and I was just never really been able to
Right.
fucking.
well, so I'm actually really, really hoping to see them announce something new. Kind of like how I've been
That's-
wanting that for so long with Blizzard, and they finally delivered with Overwatch. I'd like to
Yeah.
see something new come out of Bethesda, and I'm really hoping that this means that they'll do that.
That's
Because
why I
that
was
makes,
hesitant
like,
to
how I
answer
think.
when you said are you excited for this? I was like, I can potentially be excited for
Right.
anything, because if somebody shows up to the gate with, hey, new shit, cool.
Right.
New shit always has the potential to be good. If they come out and they're like, Fallout 4, I'm like, honestly, am I going to play it? Yeah, probably. I'm a Fallout fan. I like 3, I like New Vegas. Let's see what they did with 4. But I'm not going to, like, shit myself over it, because it's not really Fallout
Well, so
3
that's
and
exactly the
4.
thing. My biggest beef with Bethesda is they haven't really released anything exciting or new at all
Yeah.
since, well, Oblivion. Really, I mean, I look at it.
Fallout 3 was exciting and new. I mean, yeah, it was a
It
risk of
was
the other
only
games,
because it was only for me because I'm such a huge Fallout 1 and 2 fan.
Yeah.
I was actually disappointed overall, and I actually look at that game as just post-apocalyptic game 3. Because if I think of it as a Fallout game, I'm actually really upset and not happy about it. But if I look at it as just its own game, it's not bad. And the reasoning for that is just the original games are so good and have so much to offer, and this one it just felt empty comparatively.
You have Wasteland now, buddy.
Oh yeah, Wasteland is
now.
Wasteland 2 is a pretty solid game, but that one
I don't-
falls into a different trap.
I don't know. I
Um,
think I'd like a Skyrim in space.
Well, I mean, so that's the thing. Like, Fallout's not even in space.
No, that's what I'm saying. I would like a Skyrim in space. Like,
I just
Give
want
me
something
Space
fucking new.
Barbarians.
I would go with those game mechanics as long as you give me a new story. I don't
Well,
want
okay,
a
so the
sequel.
other-
I don't want.
The other
All
way they
that.
could go with this is going back towards where Morrowind was, which is that the Elder Scrolls universe is a lot more diverse than they ever show in Skyrim. Skyrim is really just like, here's this land, and for the most part, it's tundra or a forest or whatever. In Morrowind, there's these like massive fucking shroom forests and all sorts of ridiculous places that you just don't get a chance to see anything like in the newer games, and that's sad
No.
to me because I feel like they're pulling away from the fantasy.
There were a
aspect.
couple of parts in Skyrim that were like when you go into the underground.
But again,
A lot of the
he's saying, you're
dwarven
saying
ruins.
a couple parts. He's saying the other game was this giant fuck off fantasy thing.
Right, there's a
Like,
lot
through
of
and
stuff.
through.
Huge
Yeah, and it also took
diversities.
2 fucking days to walk everywhere.
Yeah,
You
but
know-
that's how those games should be. It's supposed to be a giant exploratory world. That's the whole point. But
I feel like as long as they add quick travel, I'm cool with it.
and that's the thing. They added quick travel and stuff like that before. But my point being that I'd like to see another diverse world if they're going to go back to Elder Scrolls anytime soon. That's all I'd like to see. Just because I feel like seeing something realistic is okay, but seeing something really fantastic, literally fantastic, would be just more interesting and more worth my time at this point. Because
Honestly,
Go
I
ahead.
just want story. I want new IP. I want them to tell new stories, come up with new shit. The world of Elder Scrolls has been great, but let's move on.
Right. I mean,
So-
I just don't. I don't mind if they go back to it, so long as they do something that's interesting and new in that regard. Just because they've really, I feel it's very stale after Oblivion, and I played a lot of Oblivion and a pretty good chunk of Skyrim, but they just haven't really pulled me in.
So, what was your biggest? I don't know. I guess complaint about Skyrim. Not because I'm a fanboy or anything, but just
Well-
I'm curious because I didn't play the other ones that much.
It's just not interesting enough. Like the world is just flat in my opinion, and like there's not really a lot of depth to what's going on in the world. And
So,
on
are we
top
talking
of
about
that-
visually, or are we also talking about story?
Yes, both of them. Like, there's not a whole lot of things. It's like, oh, there's a couple of factions. They're warring. There's some dragons you got to defeat. Like, it just doesn't have anything interesting going on. Like, it feels really just undimensional to me. Luckily, of course, this is one of the reasons why I'm kind of really not happy with Bethesda. The modding community has really added and spiced the game up, but I felt this way about Oblivion as well. And they also, I mean, since Morrowind, they've reduced a lot of the content, like, for just choices of the character and stuff, like, in a lot of ways. But I will give Skyrim some credit, because I did like what they did with the perk system and bringing that kind of thing in, because it allows for a little bit more diverse characterization that they didn't have in Oblivion and things like that. So, like, they kind of did a mix of the stuff that was, a little bit better. I like Skyrim more than I
So-
like Oblivion, for example, but it's still just, it's nothing special.
Kind of want to say that the reason that it's almost like they dumbed it down. Is that what it? Am I correct?
That's part of it, for sure, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's good and it's bad.
So like I think, unfortunately, the other games, and I can speak from experience, is it was just too fucking involved, right? For me to be
I
able
get-
to jump right into it and just kind of go with it at that point. It was too fucking involved. There were too many things that I needed to keep track of, and I think that for someone just starting, maybe they should do different modes then, right? Like do not necessarily a hard mode, but like like an expert mode in the sense that you know the mechanics, you can go with it, and then do a normal like Skyrim mode.
So to give a perspective, one of our chatters actually said exactly what I was trying to say, but in a more concise way. Is that they turned their series from a high fantasy world into a low fantasy world over the course of the last couple of games. So like they just brought it from being fantastic to more mundane, and that's okay. But it really takes away from, I feel, what that series had going for it, and why I liked Morrowind as much as I did when I played it back then. So that's kind of my biggest issue with it. It's not a bad game. It's just it lacks what I enjoy about fantasy settings.
So
Because there's
ultimately is I'm hearing
Easy
fucking
for you to
casuals.
say.
Not even.
I know, right? Not easy for him to say at all. It's not even the casuals. I mean, as much as I do want to go like, it's not even that. It's literally just not being as creative with what they had before. You know, there's a skeleton there that they've kind of gone down to, as opposed to putting more beef on that creature, kind of thing.
Beef.
That's how I describe it. No, we'll see. I could be excited about what they say. I could be meh. I'm not really holding my breath, but it's also something that I would be happy to see something new come out of it.
I think I'll definitely not go out of my way to go to their booth, but
right.
yeah.
Fair enough.
Got anything else on you guys?
For gaming, that's pretty much it for me. Far Cry 4, check it out, or don't.
What about you,
Check out
Devin? You haven't
Darkest
really
Dungeon.
right, Devin. You haven't really thrown out a whole lot of topics here. You got anything?
The fuck? I threw out Darkest Dungeon.
That's
That one was
one.
mine.
I fucking did that. Damn it.
Okay, well, fine. Then I'll go ahead and ask the question I kind of wanted to ask you guys tonight, which is,
Boxer briefs.
yeah, boxers or briefs, guys.
Actually,
Devin.
No, no.
boxer briefs.
Boxer briefs.
Both.
Yeah.
Oh, I
no,
didn't.
no, no. They're a combo.
Well, I know. They're both together. They merge into a singular thing. I get it. I'm just a boxers guy personally. No, what I wanted to ask was related to game mechanics, which is that I'm curious what your opinions on a game mechanic you'd like to stop seeing a lot of, and one you'd like to see explored more. Just like in general, like it doesn't have to be a specific genre. Just like a mechanic that you really liked and haven't seen a lot of, or want to see more of, and then mechanics that you're just like done with.
I think bullshit
go ahead.
contrivances need to go.
Well, go ahead,
Elaborate.
Devin. I'll start with you since I'll moderate my own little topic.
Okay. It's not so much that I think there are mechanics that need to go away. They just need to be stopped being used in the places they're being used in.
Okay, so an example.
QuickTime reactions.
Okay.
I think they're inappropriate for like a complex. I don't know what the genre is. I guess it's an adventure game. Something like why am I trying to say Dark Souls now? You played as the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Darksiders.
Darksiders.
Okay.
I hated the QuickTime reactions of those because like you're getting into this cool combo. It's like no, stop that now. Do this button mashy combo thing. It seems like it should flow really well, but it doesn't. Same with like first-person shooter games where they're like suddenly a guy jumps out at you with a knife and you have to like mash a button. I fucking hate that too, and I really hate the replacement of boss battles with it. Like you do like a dodge, throw a hammer, QuickTime reactions. I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Like, I miss the boss battle back in the day where you had to come in and you had to battle with the same shit you've been using, except now the thing you're fighting is a trillion times fucking harder. That's what
Not only
I'm
that,
after.
but like your dodging is literally you dodging, not pressing a button.
Yes, but that's not to say that QuickTime reaction stuff should go away. I think it works really well in like a horror game. Now, a first-person shooter, I guess the situation where a guy pops out with a knife, if it happens once in a while, it's better. But fucking every game has one of those reactions now. and you
So
fucking
so
see it
then
coming.
what about
But for, like,
Walking
a
Dead?
Horror game. A horror game like Walking Dead, something comes out at you and suddenly you're reacting, but because suddenly
Thematically,
you're
it makes sense.
reacting.
Right.
Like, it's because you've already been drawn into a thing. It's a much more emotional reaction than it is just like, I'm expecting to, like, do you get what I mean? Like, am I
Yeah,
making enough of a difference between these?
Yeah, I get the idea.
And a first-person shooter is still probably more appropriate, I think, than, like, the boss battle thing. But, again, it doesn't need to go away. One thing I'd like to see reimagined or worked better is I love the idea of, like, lockpick mechanics when they throw you into a mini-game for lockpicks. I actually really enjoy that, but I feel like they're running out of mini-games they can throw into lockpick actions. Like, fucking BioShock made you play Pipe Slider, dude. That used to be its own game, and they were like, how do we fucking pick
So,
Pipe Slider?
it's really
Damn it.
interesting that you bring that particular one up because I'm actually in the exact opposite side of that. Not because I don't like the concept, but because it's overly complicated for no reason. Like, I like the idea because it kind of makes you feel like I got to do a little bit of something for this
Fallout
lockpicking.
did it right.
But
It was 2 thumbsticks, and you're like, tweak, tweak.
Fallout
tweak,
Fallout
tweak.
is probably one of the best versions of it I've seen. I did not like the Morrowind or Oblivion ones. Like, there's just I just
Or
it's
a game
simple.
that did everything right, Arkham. The with the cryptographic synchronizer, the little thing
Yeah.
where you decoded radio
I
signals.
wasn't super into that one either.
Really,
Honestly,
I thought
but-
it fit really
It
well.
fit
because
thematically, but it just-
what really made it work the best, I think, was the fact that you saw Batman holding his thing, mirroring
Right.
your actions. Like, you were doing that because he was doing that.
Right. Well, so let me give an example of why I kind of have issues with it in general. Like, if you do it in Fallout, for example, like I don't remember if they actually did it in this one, but I'll go back to Oblivion. With Oblivion, while you're doing it, basically time stops around you. Right? I don't remember if they did that for Fallout. I know that the hacking minigame
Yes, it did. It stopped around you,
Okay.
which is kind of obnoxious. It should be real time.
Right.
If
So
you're
that-
going to
that's
do
my
a
thing.
real timey kind of event, it needs to be a real
Right.
time.
It's a mechanic that is used in a way that I just don't like at all, and minigames in general just piss me off. But I would rather go up to a lock and start lockpicking it, kind of like in Payday 2, where like it's just a little bar and you don't have to do anything interesting, but it's the time invested that becomes an interesting thing. Because if somebody walks
But
up
that's
behind you,
not a
suddenly fuck.
minigame.
Right, and that's my thing. Is like minigames don't really have a place in that kind of thing. As
But
interesting as they can be.
They're there for
personally.
breaking up monotony. I mean, you can only run and shoot and run and
Right.
shoot, throw bees, run and shoot so much
Fair
before
enough.
you're like, it's Assassin's Creed, dude. I've ran up a wall. I shot a guy, and I ran up a wall, and I stabbed a
So,
guy, and I ran
actually,
up a wall.
Assassin's Creed has some of the worst lockpicking minigames ever. Specifically, the latest one. You're picking it, and it's this bar that goes up and down, and you have a slight.
Oh, I hate that minigame.
Those are dumb.
Oh god, it's so retarded because basically, unless you have lockpicking skills 1,000, it's just like and going up and down like crazy. So I like mini games. I think that there's certain places that they belong.
Sure,
I
I'm
think
saying-
somehow we ran out of minigame ideas and some
Yeah.
fresh new minigame. Okay, like, let's go back to my favoritist, Kingdom Hearts, with the gummy ship.
Always in the Kingdom Hearts.
But
Okay,
that
I'm
gummy
actually
ship
not
was
familiar
such
with it, so
the
explain
gummy
it.
ship was such a fun break from gameplay. So as you travel between worlds, you have this ship that you collect pieces for. You can completely customize. You can build it your own way. This, hack and slashy adventure game, you get one of those classic fly the ship and blow the stuff away things. The only thing you have to do is not die, and that's not hard to do. It's a true mini game. Like,
Okay.
you go around, you blow stuff up, you collect things, but it's this great break from everything else you're doing, so it's not the monotony of go to a world, hack and slash, puzzle solve, go to a world, hack and slash, puzzle solve. In between, you have these great, like, oh, I can build up this ship and customize and do these things with it, and I can fly it around and blow shit up and collect all the pieces with it. That's a mini game done right.
Right.
And I think another original idea like that could save the mini game. Because I do. It's about breaking up monotony.
It is, and I get that, and I totally agree. I feel that there's just so many of them that just don't need to exist, and I'd like to see less.
And
of it.
they're getting redone. Just like he
Right.
said, that little slider thing, I think it was infamous, had like powers you had to use where it was like, hit in between here, make the power just... Like, they've done that. Let's
Right.
stop doing those ones that sucked in other games, because you're not doing it any better.
It's true. Yeah. So what about
So-
you, Eddie? What do you got?
So for me, I hate, like I opened with bullshit contrivances. Perfect example. You are in this fight, and you're fighting this enemy. But no, this is a fight that you can't fucking win, regardless. Why? Because the fucking story says so. Honest to God, it upsets me where it's like, no, if I fucked the sequence up, then go ahead, take me to that fucking little bullshit storyline that you want to. But if I fucking succeed, then no, you come up with something fucking else.
So I actually have a really good example of why I can agree with that one. Mass Effect 3 opens up in the tutorial at the end with a section where you're basically holding out in this little fucking spot against all these Geth things that are coming, or not Geth, Reaper things that are coming after you. The mechanic that they added for this one was when you run out of ammo, you will get picked up and the story continues, right? Problem. I was really conserving my ammo because I don't like having no ammo next fucking scene, right? So I spent probably an hour in that scene going, what the fuck, is it broken? And I was getting really upset because I was using my power and stuff like that to knock enemies away and just not using my ammo because I'm like, okay, I want to save this for later in case I need it. And eventually I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? And then I found out, oh, you're just going to run out of ammo. Whereas they could simply have fixed that one with having the longer you're sitting there, the harder those waves got, because that was the problem. They were so simple for me because I had a good way of using my powers together that they just couldn't fucking touch me. So I spent stupidness.
My favorite is when the following cutscene does not match the actions you just performed. Like, you get to, like, a pseudo-boss fight, and you lay a red-ass beat down. He never hits you once.
Right.
You champ this thing. And the cutscene immediately goes to him going, like... And you fall to the ground, and, like, you lose next. So you're just like... Red-ass beatdown! What the fuck? Or, like, Borderlands. This was the worst part of Borderlands 2. Roland, when he gets... Spoiler, sorry, fuck you. It's old. Roland gets fucking shot in the head. You get shot with rocket launchers in this game, and you're fine, but one guy shows up and goes... And he's dead.
Yep.
Dead! And you're like... There's a respawn thing 10 feet.
Right.
I can hit
How
it
did
with
he
a
not use
rock.
the thing we've been using this
What
whole
the
game?
Fuck!
Fucking,
No, I get you there, Eddie.
I fucking hate it. So, like, even Stick of Truth, South Park, had something like that. And yeah, they turned it on their ear a little bit, but it still pissed me the fuck off because they're like, this fight doesn't matter. Just go with us. And you're like, no, fuck you. I'm going to fight you anyways. I won that fight.
Yeah. So did
I beat the fuck out of those guys.
Yep.
Yeah, I took a bunch of the fucking potions, but I beat the fuck out of those guys. And they were like, no, you're coming with us anyways. I'm like, no, fuck you. I almost rage quit right there. Because this mechanic pisses me off so fucking much.
To be fair, that was not the first thing the game did to you. Like, again, when you're I think we talked about this on the stream. When you're naming your character, they're like, "What's your name?" You can't fill anything in. Oh, is your name douchebag? No. Okay, douchebag. Like, that was just kind of there. Like, the game was not there to play your game. The game was there so you could play it.
That part was fucking funny, but I'm telling you, like, it just, I hate that shit in all games. So they don't get a fucking pass because of it. It's like even the part where you're like, oh, it's gonna keep getting harder. I'm like, why can't you come up with a better fucking story that doesn't require fucking...
How about if I beat your thing that just gets harder? Like, yeah, it gets stupid hard and you're a little under-leveled, but if I beat that, I get a shiny hat.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
reward people for doing things ridiculously.
Yeah,
Or at least an achievement. It's not
Right.
like games don't have enough of... You know, that's been my weirdest thing about... That's what needs to go away.
Oh, I know, right?
Arbitrary achievements. Because those ones like, play the game for 45 minutes unstopped. And I'm like, you know, there was this stupid thing where, like, there's a can, and I blew up every can in the game. Where's my achievement for... Or, Arkham had a bunch of radios that did nothing, but I went through... Borderlands did it too. There's all these radios. I turned on every radio. South Park, all the showers that you can leave running, I left every shower running. You don't get anything for that. They're just like, you're fucking weird.
Right.
But, like...
You'd like
I
to
at least
see...
did a thing. It wasn't
You'd like to
just
see
play the
achievements that
game
actually
for
are
No,
interesting.
so you know which
Something.
ones piss me off?
Survive
It's
the
like...
Geth Wave for, 2.5... Whatever.
God, I survived so goddamn long for that
You know what
stupid
pisses me
wave.
off though too about achievements? It's those ones where it's like, oh, you played this on the 8th hour of the 8th day of the
Yes.
8th month. I'm like, how the fuck? This is just a teehee. So if you're a completionist and you don't
Arbitrary
know about this,
completionist stuff, yeah.
what the fuck?
But at
dude?
the same time, though, I think Braid did that one right, where they had that one achievement where you had to basically wait for like an hour and a half on that one world, just because they're like, yeah, we kind of want to screw with those people that want to complete this.
But how is that okay? I mean,
It's okay in my book, because like, I felt it was interesting in that
Douchebag.
regard. It was douchey,
What
and
was
I liked
the game
it.
you and I played the drinking game to, Steven?
Oh, that was X-Men Evolution or something like that.
No, Evolution
The-
was a cartoon series. That
No,
Fantastic
it was something
Four
like
compared
that.
to
X-Men. Fuck, it was like X-Men Brovolution. It might have been something like that. It was one of those ones where it's like stupid title.
We played this X-Men game, and I kid you not, we were like we had already been playing it for like 10 minutes, and we had gotten 8 or 9 achievements in the first 10 minutes of playing this game. And I know it was a high number, like 8 or 9, because immediately we thought to ourselves, this needs to be a drinking game. Every time we hit an achievement, we take a shot, and we killed a bottle after already getting 8 or 9 of them in 10 minutes. We fucking killed a
We
bomb.
killed like a large handle of Jaeger.
Yes. And
So
like we were just like,
I,
there's still more game to play.
He was just so pissed into this. We're just like, all right,
So
let's continue tomorrow.
I had something
So
similar
bad.
happen to so you guys know how I love Rock Band, right? So
Yes, we are
they-
aware of your obsession.
anyways, they don't do the music store anymore, so I was trying another Rock Band type game. And I did one
Sulk Band.
yeah.
You
Oh,
play banjo.
but anyways, I did one song, and this isn't me bragging about any of that shit. I was just surprised. Like 4 fucking achievements. I was like, the kind of people that usually buy this game must just sit there and be like, ha ha ha, da 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 da. You know, I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, oh, crazy score. I'm like, I feel like you just threw achievements in there to make people feel pretty and nice about themselves.
Fucking casuals.
Yeah,
Right.
fucking casuals.
So what would you like to see more of then, Eddie?
Mm.
As I catch you during a drink.
More of that glass of water.
Boy, that glass. I'll drink some water to that. Water.
I think I like the fact that games realistic physics. I think I want more of that. I remember playing oh god, now I can't remember the name. It was a game where you were on Mars. It was oh shit. But anyways, the houses were completely destructible.
Yeah, there's a lot of games in Mars.
Their latest one was like Armageddon. You played like the militia on Mars. Fuck, I will find this game right now. But anyways, so the environments were fully destructible to the point where there was a gun that you shot at one thing and shot at another, and they came together. It was like a gravity gun.
Oh yeah, they've done that in a
Okay.
few things.
It was pretty fucking cool. But you could literally just walk into a random hut and be like, I have a hammer. Fuck these walls. You know, and it was fucking great. So I think destructible environments, I think it's retarded that I just dropped a fucking, you know, rocket launcher from or fucking missile from orbit and everything's still standing.
I don't remember what game it was, but I believe it was one of the Star Wars games. It was supposed to have what was known as like digital molecular physics or something like that. The idea being that like if you had a brick wall and you fucking hit it with a sledgehammer and like put a hole in it, it would act like a brick wall. Whereas if you smashed a wood fence with this thing, it would act like that. And it wasn't just like the sort of like, oh, there's this prefab thing that falls apart. It was like literally there were physics involved with this. So like this wood would splinter, or like the rock would like explode off in dust and stuff. And it was this really fucking cool thing that was being shown like when I was in high school, and I haven't seen anything about that ever since
You were in
then.
high school. I think you're talking about like Force Unleashed because it had
Yeah, I think it was one of those games.
it
like
had
that,
a
yeah.
lot of destructible stuff, like a lot of it, but
Right.
not all of it. The game
And
I'm
I'd like
talking
to see
about
that
was
incorporated like really in depth into a game that's going to be like fully fleshed out like that, because then like it becomes like it's even like let's just say a first person shooter, like you're shooting all these dudes and people are shooting you and all this stuff starts disappearing, you lose your cover because things are exploding
I
and
was
like
about to say that I think a fucking Call of Duty game would be a lot more
well,
interesting.
so Battlefield Bad Company 2 had a lot of these things, but they were very prefab in a lot of ways, and it was kind of sad. But if they incorporated something like this, to where like your bullets start to literally put holes in the wall, oh, that would be so cool.
So the
like
game
we're
I
in a
was
place where
talking
that'd
about-
be great.
was Red Faction.
Oh, I would have
yeah,
never
yeah.
gone to Red Faction.
Yeah,
Game
no,
on Mars.
no, takes place on Mars. You're with.
No,
the
I
fucking
mean I get
spacecraft.
it, but there's a lot of games I went to
so,
first.
so they went from being kind of a third person to being a first person with the
Yeah.
last one, Armageddon. But even so, the environments were almost completely destructible, and I thought it was fucking fantastic. So I think that's one game mechanic that needs to come back and needs to stay, just because it
That-
makes it much more interesting. Like, imagine if in Halo you're shooting those needles and they explode, but they don't always, they don't fucking,
They don't do anything.
they don't do shit.
I mean,
Like,
damage the tree.
yeah, like they explode the person, but the fucking wall.
That was the thing I was excited about with the original Crysis game, because you could actually shoot a tree at one point and it would fall at that point. Things like that. Just like really making, like, if you want to get more realistic in ways, why don't we go with the environment realism as opposed to the graphical realism, Like, I want the world to act like a world should.
Well,
if I
just
sit-
like with
yeah,
what were we playing? The little turn-based RPG one, Divinity.
yeah.
I loved the system of elements in there. When you hit
Ah.
fire and ice, you get steam. Steam blocks vision.
Yeah.
If you hit poison with fire, that shit explodes.
Yeah, the elemental interactions in that game are fantastic. It's an
Absolutely.
example of a CRPG that's been done in a more modern style, and that is the reason why I love that game so much, and it's probably easily one of my top 3 games of last year.
Oh yeah.
Well, and even in like a GTA kind of style, you crash into that building, you took out the fucking corner of that building.
A little bit trickier in something that's like that, but I would love to see more of that kind of thing, especially if it's a persistent world too. Like, there's no reason why we can't start developing these technologies in the AAA studios. I just don't. I mean, they're money that people have to sink into games, and
You know what
we
the
want
world
to
needs
make a
right
quick
now?
buck.
The world needs a combination of that. These realistic, bricks are bricks and wood is wood, and we need to make a new 3D Rampage game.
Yeah, right? Wouldn't that be great? You're just smashing shit, and you get to see all these really cool physics go off and stuff.
That would be awesome
That,
with the
you could
fucking
put something like a
the
story on it.
Oculus or the fucking.
Oh well,
Rift.
but that's another cool thing. Like, it would work so well with VR stuff that I just don't know why we haven't focused on environmental effects like that.
VR's a fad.
But hold on.
Yes and no.
Even with like fucking MMOs,
Yeah.
shit that happens on a server happens on a fucking server, right? Like, you kill a fucking boss, motherfucker's dead.
Yeah,
Right?
there's been some games that like sort of try to attempt that kind of thing, and I'd like to see more of that persistence, like in
Yeah.
long term.
When I say persistent world, I want a motherfucking persistent
Right.
world.
Or at the very least, like global events that everybody can participate in that like have like an effect for everyone if you succeed, or an effect if everybody fails. Like, I'd love to see stuff like that in MMOs. It might bring me into the genre again if they did. I guess to go to mine, like ironically, you guys both touched on 2 of my big numbers for those.
It's okay, Steve. Nobody cares what you think.
Okay, see how it is.
No,
No,
go on.
So I was gonna bring up minigames as my big, like, I don't want to see more of, and I can't think of another good one off the top of my head. And you nailed the environmental thing, but I did have another one that I kind of interested in, even though it's been done a little bit recently. I'd love to see more time manipulation style mechanics in games, like for example how Braid was doing it, or things like that. I'd love to see that taken not just in that way,
Didn't
but
the Wii U just do one like that?
they might have. But I mean, I want to see more to it than just, oh, a guy can jump on a dude and you get over here kind of thing. I'd like to see even further like exploration of that kind of thing. Because I feel like there's a lot of potential in something like that, because like it's just like pseudo multiplayer single player thing. Especially if you start incorporating multiplayer, that'd be fucking cool,
Have
Just
you-
time out the stuff.
Have you played Time Shift?
I have not.
So Time Shift was
I think if I understand right.
it was an FPS, and it was it was something that was kind of big deal and then not a big deal, and it had a lot of the time mechanics, and they were done really well. So I've played through that
That's
game
what
at least twice. So what you would go through is, an enemy would throw a bomb, and you'd be like, oh no, and of course you have limited amount of time that you can rewind.
Right.
So you rewind time, and that bridge is no longer blown up, and you can cross it and whatnot, and then you know what's going to happen, so you can react. And there were other time-based powers that were used really well. I think the coolest part, though, is you'd come up to a building, and you're like, man, I need to open that door, but the mechanism doesn't work, so you use your time powers on it, and it would restore it to a time where it did, and then you can use, and it was used in puzzles and stuff like that. So yeah, I like that.
Right. Well, the reason why this, I don't know, did I talk about Life is Strange on the cast last week? I don't remember if I did.
I think
I know I
you
brought it up a
mentioned
couple
it, and
times.
that was probably it.
Okay, well, the reason why this has kind of been in my mind is the game Life is Strange is Square Enix's attempt at like Telltale style point and click adventure. But they add the big thing with it. It's a minor spoiler you figure out in the very beginning, is that you can rewind time essentially. And my best enemy and I have been talking a lot about how we'd love to see like how far you could go story wise with something like that. Because think like if you only have so much time rewinding, but you didn't know it when you started, and then you start having to worry about like, if I rewind time here, is this really important to me, kind of thing. A lot like there's an anime movie that's I highly recommend it, really good, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. And it's a very similar thought process on that, because like, you can do so much with like, oh, you remove time or go back in time so you're not forward, or like things can jump on things. But I'd love to see like a little bit deeper in like the mechanicals or the story aspects of it, while increasing the sort of interesting in mechanics. So I don't know. I think there's an untapped potential there that, although people have been kind of like working with it more recently, I think that there's still a lot of potential there, and I'd like to see more with it. So you guys have anything else, or should I whore us out?
I think it's about time to start doing some whoring.
All right, guys.
Pump
Well,
up them boobies and get to work, sir.
yeah. I think we're gonna get banned from Twitch for that one. Or maybe YouTube again.
I'm still not wearing pants.
Right, and shirts. But if you guys would like to contact us to say hello or whatever, and give us an email for comment, constructive criticism, questions, whatever, you can hit us up at our website, which is 5dpodcast.com. Our email is 5d@5dpodcast.com. We have a Facebook page, which is /in5dpodcast, and these all have the number, by the way. We're on YouTube at 5dpodcast.com, as well as on Twitch. If you want to join the chat while we're kind of doing the cast, we record generally Wednesdays from 7 to 9. We also have a Twitter, which is 5D_podcast, and then I am Figbird4885.
All right, and tomorrow night, check us out here on the 5D Podcast Twitch channel. We'll be streaming some game. We're not sure which one just yet, but check us out. We're usually on 7 to 9. Unless we get bored and there's nobody there, then we go home early and
Why do you keep
eat
doing this,
steak.
Devin?
Because if you're looking at the stream, I am pointing at the 5D podcast
Oh, okay.
Twitch
You're
and the
pointing
5D
at the little
podcast
information.
YouTube
Oh, got it,
and
okay.
the 5D podcast Twitter.
See, I'm
Located
getting to that right now.
here
I'm just
by
looking
me
at you do that, and
for
I'm like, what the
convenience.
fuck?
No, I got it. The funny part, though, is that I thought he was Michael J. Foxing it because he was like...
Because
He's
my
like-
hand was like pointed backwards.
He
You
was
couldn't
doing,
tell
like,
where I was pointing,
street
so I had to turn it so it matched up properly.
Thank
That's right. It's that one.
you,
That
Ivana.
one. And that. Should I Vanna White this bitch?
Yeah, dude, you need to get like a fucking card that has like round 1 on it, but instead it says all the information I just said. Or it says round 1, then you flip it and it says all the other stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, but then that means he has to be in like a gold bikini, and I don't want to see that.
Exactly. I want to see Devin in a gold
My
bikini.
house
That's what I want to see. Exactly. And then I want Eddie to say something in some ridiculous, accented Spanish. Anyways,
Well
with
put.
that, guys. with
Hint,
that-
hint.
Yes.
Hey, I'm like, no, I'm not playing your game.
No, not today. There wasn't any good comments that needed to be said. I would have otherwise pushed you. With that, everybody, you have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.